All right, what is up, everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. The Thunder bounce back from their fumble in game one, control the Pacers, win game two, and now we have a 1-1 series in the finals. I'm going to talk all about it here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. I'll link to my Twitter and all that stuff down in the description below. And yeah, if you want to see more of your time, let's get right to it. So OKC, they come out, they control the Pacers in game two, bounce back from that fumble in game one. They win 123-107. Now we have a 1-1 series going to Indiana. Obviously, I think I said it in the game one recap. I expect the Thunder to come out with a big punch in this game. You know, you have to. After that game where you were in control for all of it, you somehow find a way to fumble at the end. You had to come out and find a way, to punch early in this one. And that's what OKC did, particularly Chet Holmgren. Last game for OKC, it was the Shea show. It was Shea and some Lou Dort, but Chet and Jada were very critical because they did not come out and have great games. And Chet Holmgren made you know, like from the get go, Chet Holmgren said, okay, I'm here. 9 points in the first quarter, 4-5, hit a 3-pointer, had a block. OKC, shot well from the field, didn't shoot particularly well from three, but they were able to get to the rim with Shea doing his thing. Chet, I think his aggression on both ends. Chet Holmgren was just amazing to start this game, and I feel like it really set the tone of like, no, we're here. We're here to, kick y'all butt, Indiana. And for the Pacers, just a bad shooting quarter, 7 for 21, 5-14 from three. The 3-point shot was just not falling, which is interesting because Indiana didn't really have a turnover problem. Indiana only had 3 turnovers in the first quarter. They really looked a lot more like better. Like early in the first half in game one, Indiana just was kind of throwing the ball around. They looked like they didn't know who they were facing off against. One of the best defenses at forcing turnovers. But this game, they looked a lot more controlled. It's just the shots weren't really falling early. They got off to not a great start offensively. Um, Neesmith couldn't make a shot. Siakam was 1 for 3. Haliburton 1 for 4. And OKC's defense and Chet Holmgren was really a big factor. Second quarter is where the things swing in this game, and that's where OKC really took control. And it wasn't really, well, Shea had a good quarter with 9 points, but it was the others. J-Dub hit some shots in this game. 9 points. He got 9 points in the second quarter. He got more to the line. It was aggressive, but it was Alex Caruso and Aaron Wiggins, and some Isaiah Hartenstein as well. Alex Caruso and Aaron Wiggins and Kenrich Williams. There's a couple. That lineup where it was Shea, Caruso, Wiggins, Ihart, and was it J-Dub or Lou Dort? Though that lineup right there, absolutely dominant. I mean, the bench, Caruso comes in, gives you 5 points, hits a three, his energy, what he does. Aaron Wiggins, who hasn't really been a factor in this playoff run for OKC, which is really surprising. You can see he's one of the better role players in the league in the regular season. Came out and had his moment. 2 threes, 3-4 from the field. He had 8 points, a plus 15. And then Kenny Hustle. He didn't score in the quarter, but man, was he huge. 4 rebounds, 2 assists, with some great defense and great energy. And Isaiah Hartenstein as well. They did the lineup change, throwing Casey Wallace in the starting lineup and taking out Isaiah Hartenstein. But so far, the first 2 games of the series, I've liked what I've seen from Hartenstein offensively. I feel like the Thunder are a better offensive team so far in 2 games when Isaiah Hartenstein on the court. He had 3 rebounds, some really nice passes. Like, he has some big moments, and that's where the Thunder got off to a big run and got up to a 23-point lead. And Indiana had another bad shooting quarter, 8 for 22, 2 for 8 from 3. Dominated on the boards. What got dominated on the boards is what I mean to say. Haliburton only takes 1 shot in the quarter. Siakam couldn't really find his groove at all in this game. And once you got those 2 shut down, you're good. Looking at the entirety of the first half, Indiana shoots 35% from the field, 31% from 3, 57% from the free throw line. Well, OKC shoots 51% from the field, 36% from 3. 75% from the free throw line while winning the rebounding battle. Because it was tough for Indiana because it wasn't really a turnover city. Last game, Indiana had 19 turnovers in the first quarter. This game only had 9. 9 turnovers in the first half. And Miles Turner had 3 of them still. They're still, dogging Miles Turner. Miles Turner cannot put the ball on the floor to save his life. But it's just a really bad shooting night. Pascal Siakam 3 for 8. Haliburton 1 for 5. And when those 2 don't have it going, it's tough. It was really just a lack of it. It really just kind of simple as OKC making shots. Indiana wasn't making shots. I also didn't like the Pacers defense at all, really, in this game. I feel like the Pacers defense was not really feisty at all. Like there were so many times, especially in the first half, there were so many times where someone just fell asleep on the wing. Like there was one play where Shea drives, dumps it down at Hartenstein. Hartenstein looks around and gives it to Caruso because Caruso is wide open on the wing for three because Nembhard fell asleep. There's another time where I think Pascal fell asleep on J-Dub or something like that. But there's a lot of times where people falling asleep on the perimeter and letting OKC shoot however many open shots they want. I feel like there's not really many, there wasn't much aggressiveness or feistiness at all. And OKC came out with that kind of energy of like, nah, we're winning this game. You know, and obviously getting the others to show up is big. Third quarter was kind of like a track meet. Both teams shot the ball crazy in the third quarter. Shea has more big moments of 12 points. Caruso gives you another three. Wiggins gives you another three. J-Dub gives you another three. Indiana shoots better in the quarter. Thanks to Miles Turner and Nesmith hitting some shots. So besides that, Siakam got to the free throw line a lot. Halliburton only takes 2 shots. Nembhard only takes 1 shot. The bench has 4 points in the quarter. They got to the free throw line a lot, which is the big thing. But so did OKC. And that really was kind of it for the rest of the game. Shea also has a big fourth quarter. And yeah, OKC ends up dominating this game. Looking at the numbers, in terms of different stats, OKC wins the point of the paint battle 42-34. You know, and interesting enough, OKC wins this game and kind of controls and dominates this game. OKC does not win the points off turnover battle. Like, I honestly think this might be the first game I've seen where OKC has not won the fast break point or the points off turnover battle. They only had 14 points off turnovers, only 4 fast break points in this game. Only 4 fast break points, 14 points off turnovers. They could probably sometimes get 14 points off turnovers in like a half. They only did that. They did that for the entire game. But a big thing, bench points. OKC's bench dominated Indiana's bench. Not something I really expected in terms of scoring wise. Obviously, they both bring impacts, but in different ways. OKC's bench brings in a defensive impact. Indiana brings an offensive impact. Today, OKC had Caruso and Wiggins combined for 38 points off the bench. 38 points. Caruso, 20 points, 4 threes. Wiggins, 18 points, 5 threes. Those two were just, particularly Aaron Wiggins, plus 24 in 20 minutes. He was absolutely amazing. You know, this is the type of run, well, not specifically this game, but this was the type of energy I was expecting for the entire playoff run. He hasn't really had that. But all he needs is one game. And that's really, he gave you that one game. Caruso gives you a good game. Kenny Hustle gives you some good game. Hartenstein, his numbers, you know, only 3 points for 8 rebounds and 4 assists, but I really like the impact he brings offensively in this series. You know, with the offensive rebounds he brings, 3 offensive rebounds, you know, his passing ability, you know, like I like what I've seen from him. Shea has a very dominant game with 34, 5, and 8 with 4 steals. Just no one really on Indiana can guard Shea at all. And then yeah, J-Dub and Chet combined for 34 points in this game. You know, where last game, game 1, I don't have it right off the bat, but game 1, Chet had like 6 points. Today he made 6 shots. So that's big. And then, you know, he brings the defensive end, and J-Dub gives you still not a great shooting performance, but I just like the energy he brought better. 19, 5, and 5. He was getting more to the free throw line, being more aggressive. I like that. Kaysen gives you some solid defense. OKC shoots, you know, OKC outshot Indiana in this game. 48% from the field to 45% for Indiana. 38% from 3 to 35%. Free throw line, they took 33 free throws. Indiana took 26, and they only missed 4 of them. You know, the rebounding. I think the rebounding was a big thing. Even though it's only an 8 rebound differential, it felt a lot more for OKC because OKC wasn't forcing. OKC only forced, well, only 15 turnovers. You know, but OKC also had 13 turnovers. So this wasn't like a OKC special where it's like turn the ball over, we're just gonna run, and that's how we're gonna beat you. OKC legit just, you know, played solid defense and finished out with rebounding. And they were able to come down offensively and get a good shot. Like this was the most kind of like, I guess, un-OKC way, but also OKC way. It was very weird because it was like, yeah, this is what the Thunder do, but this isn't what the Thunder do. The Thunder are usually a team that, you know, like we're gonna force turnovers, we're gonna cause havoc, you know, we're gonna have our big 3 show up. Like this kind of wasn't that game. It was more of like really good half court offense and really good defensive rebounding, like which is still things that OKC does, but just not like what the pinnacle of what they do and what makes them so elite. But they were doing it. I mean, whether it was Shea getting the bucket, whether it was J-Dub being aggressive, whether it was Caruso or Wiggins hitting a big 3-pointer, you know, in the corner off a Shea pass, like they were doing it. And then defensively, just really good stuff there for Indiana. Again, I didn't like a lot of the feistiness and the aggressiveness that I saw on the defensive end. I feel like they were allowing a lot of drives. With OKC, you know, winning the points in the paint battle, I felt like they were allowing a lot of drives, falling asleep a lot on the perimeter for 3, and then offensively, They had runs, obviously. You know, Indiana's going to be able to score because that's just what they do, but not a great offensive game. I mean, the bench, Matherin gives you 14, but McConnell gives you 11, but not really huge impacts fell off the bench in this game. Nembhard gives you 11. He has a decent game. Pascal, 3 for 11. You know, he got to the free throw line, but that was really all he did. Halliburton takes 13 shots, but a lot of them came, you know, 6 of them, almost half his shots came in the fourth quarter where they were already down like 21, 23 points. So, you know, and something I said in the preview, I said in game one, if Halliburton can't be aggressive and Halliburton can't, you know, do what he does, Indiana doesn't have a chance. And tonight you saw where Halliburton, he came out the first quarter, he took a couple shots, but besides that, like, I want to look at, I have second quarter, he takes 1 shot. Third quarter, he takes 2 shots. Took for 24, for 24 minutes of a game, Halliburton only took 3 shots. 3 shots. Like, that's just not something that just can't happen. You know, I'm not saying he has to take 35 shots, but he's got to be a little more aggressive. You know, he really does. And Pascal hasn't really been able to get his foot in this series. He did have some big moments in game one. He had the and one. You know, he had some decent showings in game one. This game didn't have it. You know, like 3 for 11 from the field, just couldn't really make an impact felt. And if Halliburton and Siakam both are making their impacts felt, Indiana's not going to have a chance. You know, they did have it in the first half. You know, there were some moments, well, not in the first half per se. There was definitely some moments where I was like, it felt very similar to game one where like OKC just couldn't really put them away, but Indiana could just never like take it. Indiana could never go on a sustainable run. You know, they made runs, but they couldn't go on one big, you know, 5 minute run or not even five, like 3, 4 minute run that was just like, that's what it is, you know? And you got to credit OKC's defense, obviously, but also just a lack of, you know, aggressiveness from their 2 star players. Just not being able to put the ball in the cup and not being able to get things done. And that's really going to, you know, and then the rebounding as well. There's a lot of possessions where they just gave up rebound. 11 offensive rebounds he gave up. You know, he had 3 players. Kenny Hustle had 2 offensive rebounds. Wiggins had an offensive rebound. Caruso offensive rebound. Jason Wallace had an offensive rebound. J-Dub 2 offensive rebounds. Hartenstein 3 offensive rebounds. You're not going to win if you're giving up offensive rebounds. Just not going to be able to win games when, one, you're already struggling to shoot, and then you're also giving up offensive rebounds. Not a good combination to win. So OKC does what they have to do. I kind of expected a type of game like this where OKC kind of controls it and dominates them. Yeah, now we go to Indiana for game 3 and game 4. What I'm expecting in game 3, for OKC, I'm expecting to keep the foot on the next because I feel like that game 1 could have been, game 1 was kind of like a wake up call to OKC, maybe in a sense, where I feel like they kind of realized like, oh shoot, okay, we really kind of like with the Denver series where like the first they're down 2-1, and like game 3 was kind of like a wake up call, of like, hey, like, you know, like this isn't easy. And that was kind of like their graduation moment where it's like, okay, now we got to really lock in. We got to really settle things down, figure things out. And they did that and beat Denver. Game 1 was kind of like that game. I said it in my last preview of game 1. That felt very similar to what the Denver series, where OKC was in control for most of it. It was good. And then Denver just kept sticking around. And the last few minutes, Denver comes out. All of a sudden, Aaron Gordon said it's a 3, and you go in the locker room and you lost. And you're down 1-0. Same thing happened here where you're in control. All that, all of a sudden you look up, Halliburton hits a mid-range shot, and all of a sudden you're in the locker room, you're down 1-0. And I expected OKC to come out and punch in game 2, and that's what they did. And I expect them to come out with the same type of intensity for the next 3 or how many-ish games. Now, do I expect Caruso and Wiggins to maybe shoot like this? I'm not sure. I cannot guarantee that Wiggins and Caruso are going to combine for 9 threes again in a game. No, I can't really, you know, count on that happening. But what I can count on is the effort. What I can count on and hope to count on is Chet Holmgren being what he was in this game for the rest of the series, making an impact offensively and defensively and being aggressive. Hopefully J-Dub has to probably have a game or 2 in this series of like a 25-point explosion and a good shooting night. I feel like I'm expecting that to happen. I'm expecting Shea to still be Shea. And I'm expecting the energy and the hustle to still be there. You know, I'm expecting that to still be there. It really is going to come down to what is Indiana going to look like. For Indiana, I think if I'm game 3 and I'm Rick Carlisle, I'm telling Tyrese Halliburton in his ear, we need you to take shots. And I know it's tough because, okay, Lou Dort, you know, is denying to Halliburton, and that's just what it is. But when Dort's not on you, and when you have little moments and opportunities, you're going to have to be aggressive. You know, get to that mid-range game, which I like. You know, do that. I'm gonna need Pascal Siakam's gonna have to have a game or two. Game three, honestly. I need Pascal Siakam to be similar to what we saw in the Knicks series. Again, it's tough because it's an elite defense, but Pascal Siakam's gonna have to have a non 3 for 11 shooting night. Pascal Siakam's gonna have to have a 20-25 point game in this one. Um, in Indiana, we need more intensity and feistiness on the defensive end. We need that, not allowing um guys to just get wide open corner three and wide open wing threes because you fell asleep because you're watching the play and all of a sudden you look over, the dude's now in the corner, you're like, oh shoot. Or just people walk. J-Dub was just like walking in the rim. There's a couple times where Wiggins and Caruso put the ball on the floor and got to the rim and just got a shot. And you're like, dang, are we just gonna play no defense? Like we need something. So I need more aggressiveness and feistiness from the Pacers. I said it in game one as well. Like, I wouldn't be too shocked. Indiana's kind of playing with house money in game two. Not saying come out and give a lazy effort, obviously, but I'm saying Indiana kind of can afford. I don't even know if afford's the right word because this is such a dominant team. You need every little thing you can get. But I mean, Indiana kind of did what they had to do, which is win a game on the road, and they did that. Now you're going back home. So game three, going to be a big game, pivotal game, kind of. Because if OKC come out and do something similar in game three, then, things might be looking like what we thought they were going to look like. But if Indiana can fight, give a better fight, and maybe Halliburton or Siakam or one of the two, or maybe both, could come out and give performances like we saw earlier, we've seen this entire playoff run, we have something going here. So I'm very interested to see what happens in game three. OKC comes out, do what they got to do. It's a 1-1 series now, and we'll see what happens next. But yeah, it's going to be today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, doing all stuff like that. I really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.